Talofa lava, everybody. This is Mani Malauru, and this is the Empowerment Show. This is the show where we bring you great people that are doing great work in their chosen profession. We bring them on to the show to give us any insight, knowledge, and any wisdom that they may have for our empowerment. And my guest this morning is Livi Ah Hoi, and he is in the IT industry, been in the IT industry for many, many years. Livi, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you, brother.
Oh, thank you for having me, Mani.
Really appreciate it. I just wanted to ask you. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just wanted to say, first of all, it was a pleasure to have you on the show, and it was a pleasure catching up with you. I think it was probably about a month back, and I'm really keen to ask you more about yourself and what you do in the IT industry. Just wondering if you could give us a bit of a background on yourself.
Yeah, sure. Well, officially talofa lava. My name is Livi Ah Hoi, and I was born and bred here in Wellington. So I'm from the beautiful city of Porirua.
Hey.
So grew up in in Porirua there. So I'm from a big Pacific Island family, big Samoan family. So in terms of my background, I'm part Samoan, part Tokelauan, and also part Chinese. So
Cool.
so my grandfather on my dad's side, he was a full Chinese. My grandfather on my mother's side, he was a full Tokelauan, and both my grandmothers were Samoan. So in terms of a bit of a fruit salad there in terms of ethnic makeup.
Very cool.
So I'm from a big family. I'm one of nine kids. So the second to youngest of. I'm 51 years old now, and
51 years young.
51 years young. I'm feeling old there. There's a big family. So one of 9 kids. Mum and dad. Dad is from a village of Nofuali'i in Savaii, and he's also from Alisa. And my mum is from a village called Eva, which is also up here as well. And so first generation New Zealander, so sort of born and bred here. So I'm married to my beautiful wife Bronwyn, and we have two young, I want to say young children, but my daughter's 21 and her name is Jasmine, and she's studying at Victoria. She's studying in IT, and I've got a son, Nelson, who's in his last year at Rongotai College. So that's a little bit about me. In terms of my background, in terms of my work background, so I have been in IT for maybe over 25 years now. Wow. So I landed a role back in sort of the mid-90s at the bank. So I worked at Westpac, and I was working on a project where there were 2 banks that were merging at the time. So there was a bank called Trust Bank, and there was another bank called obviously Westpac. And so I worked on the merger of those 2 banks, and that was sort of where I first cut my teeth, and we're sort of amalgamating a lot of the systems and processes, just so that it was aligning just pretty much to the Westpac operational sort of processes and that. Sure. So and then since then, I've been in many different organizations over my career. So a lot in banking, a lot of consulting companies, a lot of government departments, private sector organizations. So where I work at the moment, I work for a company called Volpara Health Technologies, and so that's in the medical industry, or the medical health industry.
Gotcha.
Yep. And we build this sort of AI machine learning technology that helps detect breast cancer, or helps advanced stage breast cancer. And so all our products at the moment are sold in predominantly America and Europe and Australia. So none of our products are here in Wellington yet, or in New Zealand, and that's due to a Ministry of Health, I'm not sure, I don't want to say restriction, or probably red tape.
Yeah, sure.
And they yeah, so predominantly our products are in America. So that's what I've just started that role. So I've only been there 5 months, but it sort of resonated with me with my mum passing away with breast cancer, and I wanted to sort of expend a lot of my effort and remaining sort of, oh yeah, I guess my skills and knowledge in this area, and I thought it was just really powerful working for an organisation that helps families from cancer. So that's a little bit about about me and my background.
Very cool. Hey, Olivia, I was just wondering if we could take you back a little bit
Yeah, sure.
in terms of IT, and what made you want to actually get into the IT industry. What was it that may have happened in the past that you thought, oh, actually, I wouldn't mind trying this out. I guess for us, it might not be as common, some other
Mm.
pathways of employment to go down. What was it about you that you thought, oh yeah, I want to give this a go?
Yeah, so I landed in IT by chance. So as I said, when those two banks amalgamated, my role got disestablished. So I was working for Trust Bank at the time. But they wanted people to work on the amalgam. They wanted people, subject matter experts who'd been in the bank a long time, who knew the Trust Bank system, to work on a project. And so that project was, and it was doing what they call user acceptance testing. And it's when they build a new system, and then they get users in of those systems to just test the application and to make sure that it works and that it's functional and that it's fit
Sure.
for purpose. So kind of landed it by chance, and so you maybe 6 months to a year into that project, I really enjoyed it. So it wasn't an industry that I was naturally wired for, because I don't know technology at the time. But I learned, and so at the time I was put on a lot of courses and different workshops where they taught you about development and the whole sort of development life cycle, and how systems and applications are built. And so it intrigued me, and I guess the the interest sort of sparked from there. I learned too that at the time, and this was again the sort of the mid sort of late 90s, that and I didn't know anything about technology, but I also learned that it was well paid, which is really important.
Sure.
So the money was good. I was learning in it at the time. I was surrounded by some really smart people who were kind of mentors and helped coach me. So it was so partly sort of landed in the role by chance, and then I sort of continued to pursue that career pretty much from then on. And when I knew what so I learned, I specialized in this niche sort of industry called testing, and then learned that I could take this skill and pretty much take it anywhere. So the way you learn, and that is a methodology, or is a method, or is a framework that you learn, and then you can actually take that skill, and it doesn't matter what organization you go to, they all test the same, or predominantly test the same. So, and from there, it was very I want to say lucrative, and it was appealing, and it gave me a lot of variety at the time. So I wasn't just stuck in banking anymore, but it allowed me to take those testing skills and use it across many, many different industries. So the appeal there was, the reason why I continued with it was the variety that it gave you. You work in many, many different organizations, and a very privileged to be able to do that. Yeah.
Very cool. And I guess as going to your point about the variety is important. It sparks your interest and you don't get too, I suppose, complacent or bored. And I just wanted to follow that up by
Mm.
asking you if what else do you love about your profession, Livy, and the industry that keeps you driven to succeed and driven to learn and perform at the level that you're at the moment?
A lot of success in delivering these massive projects, and a lot of these projects that you're involved in are industry wide, and it affects a lot of people. And some of the best, or the things I love about what I do is working on particular projects that actually help people or help communities. I think one of my best roles that I really enjoyed was when I was working at the hospital. So for the Capital Coast DHB and Taranaki DHB, and we were building this patient management system, and we were building this clinical system and this radiology system that that helps our nurses and our doctors and our radiologists, um, you know, treat our patients and treat our people, and when you're working on all that technology that takes all that technology that I guess are going to be used by the doctors and nurses and clinicians and then you're able to influence how that's used and making sure that it is fit for purpose, that it functions, it's going to do its job best to treat our patients. That's really satisfying.
Sure.
And so that's just one example, and there's many examples of different industries. For when I worked for police, and being able to help our frontline police officers be keep safe through the radio networks and things like that. Many of those projects that help our community and our frontline staff, whether it be police or doctors, nurses, or particularly in those the community spaces, are a lot of what drives me to continue performing. I have worked in a lot of I guess banks and things like that and I've sort of while it's appealing and you learn a lot, it doesn't satisfy you as much as working for when I've worked for Ministry of Education and you're helping our students, or when I've worked for MSD and you're helping our beneficiaries and things like that, or our student services and things like that, and our pensioners. Those are, I guess, what sort of continues to drive me to keep working hard, and if it's to help our community and our people, then that's a good thing.
Very cool. It must be such a satisfying feeling, building a system that has that impact that's just widespread, as opposed to just being in-house with one particular company. It has that impact effect. And I mean, I suppose coming from a place like Porirua, which is very much entrenched in their community, and really wants to give back to the community, has that real community feel, that must resonate with you.
Yeah, it does. And when you've sort of grown up in a Canons Creek and Porirua, and you've sort of gone to school out there, and all is what your parents have done or have worked, and your and your eyes are, and your mind is opened up to how much better you can be. It's an awesome feeling, and I'm proud, absolutely proud. Porirua proud. And but I love anyone who's come from Porirua who has done well,
very cool.
And I'm not just saying Porirua, but any of our people who have come from, I guess, backgrounds or communities that either marginalized or not seen as the hood, and they've done really well, and they've excelled in their craft and all their areas of expertise. I'm always proud of them, and I'll always promote them and say, hey, look. So and I guess it's kind of the work that you've done, Mani, and I guess your background as well, and what you're doing. So
very cool. We definitely share that passion to praise the people that excelled, that may have been the underdog, I suppose, in many respects.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your biggest challenge, or your biggest lesson, I suppose, that's had, I guess, the biggest impact on yourself, Livi, through your career or even through your life?
the biggest, I guess, the challenge, or maybe some of the things that I kind of struggle with, is that with the career that I'm in the digital or technology industry, you do see the 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 evolution of technology and the way it's going to impact people's lives and people's careers, and most of it for the good, but then often you see it working, I don't want to say not so good, but
Sure.
and I guess an example of that is, like when I used to work when I worked in the banks, I worked on the first internet banking project. So when internet banking first came into New Zealand, so I worked on that project, and at the time, well, even before internet banking, they had phone banking, and they had before that there was sort of kind of the ATMs machines and that. But I'll take internet banking, and as a result of internet banking, you you know it it's caused it's resulted in a lot of the branches closed down, and a lot of people out of work because, well, not out of work, but they've lost their jobs in the frontline retail branch, because I'm not sure how often you've actually been into a bank now, but it's probably very rare.
Yeah.
And whereas, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, everyone was in a bank, and if you had a job in a branch, it was like you're seen as successful. But those jobs now are largely gone because it's been taken over by technology. Now you don't have to go in and draw money out and transfer it into another account. You can do that over the internet. You can pay your bills. You can pretty much do anything using the internet banking now. So that sort of technology, and others as well that I've helped been involved with, you do see the decline of jobs as a result of that. And I guess that's it's probably not a challenge or lesson, but it's probably some of the things that you see, and you think, oh my gosh, this is now going to mean um, perhaps our administration staff who are at the hospitals, impacted, or our typists who normally type notes for our doctors. Well, you don't need typists anymore, because now we've got these dictaphones that doctors can just voice to text, and are able to do use that sort of technology, and then it cuts out jobs and things like that. So it's probably something that that it evolves, and is an evolution of the way technology and how fast it's moving. But 30 years ago, you'd only see that on the movies, the Terminator.
Yeah.
Now, but
Exactly.
over my over my career, it's you see it and you think, oh my gosh, this is now going to change this, and it's going to mean this, and without saying too much, I guess that's probably one of the biggest challenges that I've struggled with.
And I think it's a really good point that you bring up, because, I'm just thinking about a manufacturing company that I've been dealing with, Livi, and one of the things that they'll be talking to me about was educating their staff through the courses that we run about their mindset of being multi-skilled, because they're they have introduced robotics into
Yeah,
their company on the company floor. And obviously, when you're moving these machinery into the floor, and there's talk that goes around, and people start feeling that, they're a little bit insecure, they might be losing their roles. A good thing about the company that I'm working with is that they are keeping their jobs, which is great to see.
yeah.
But yeah, the importance about maybe being a bit more multi-skilled, and trying to pick up some other skills along the way can be quite useful.
Yeah. If you can,
Mm.
my counsel would be, to absolutely upskill and learn, particularly technology. It's one of those things where you're and once you do in the technology, you become a victim of your own success in some ways. You mentioned robotics. So I introduced it's called robotic process automation at Z Energy.
All right.
And so we introduced that whole technology into Z. and we sort of thought, oh, this is cool. We're going to automate a whole lot of stuff that we do manually, and it's going to save time and all that kind of thing. And partly, without sort of, going into too much detail, there was a third-party company who were processing a lot of our, let's call it fuel card, applications, and and they would go in and manually type things in, and then I said, look, well, our technology can automate that. So we automated it using robotics. And we sort of thought, well, this is cool. But what it meant is that, like, as that third-party company now were no longer required.
Right.
So it saved the company lots of money. The technology was awesome, and it was a win in terms of what we built and the efficiencies and how much time it took to process
Sure.
applications versus manually. But then on the flip side, it was like, okay, we no longer, that put that other company not out of business, but it just meant they worked on something else. But so it's good that it's created efficiencies and cost savings and reduced overheads and all that kind of thing, but bad that someone else impacted further downstream has potentially lost a part of the job.
Fair enough. Livi, what's the best piece of advice you've received that's really helped you stay steady and keep you moving forward in your career or in your life? Is there anything that sticks out to you that you think, far out, that really resonates with me? I want to take that and keep working forward.
I think nothing beats that old Samoan proverb, o le ala, le pule, o le tautua, which is the path to leadership, or the path to greatness or anything is through service. And so I still, I guess, live by and try and abide by that old proverb, and that if you're not continually serving and giving, then the so-called greatness or the leadership or the mana that that's then bestowed on you means nothing if you're not working and serving people or the community, or whether it be your family or the church, or the community that really needs it. So I think that's probably one of the biggest, I guess, advices that I can is continue to serve in a way that is going to benefit people and for the betterment of others rather than just yourself. I really believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned it in terms of serving those that I won't say serving the common people, the ordinary people that you walk past or have grown up to see, and you're just as human as them. And on your path through leadership, as you're talking about, is remembering. I guess we're remembering where you're from as well, and really giving back to, as you say, to your community, to your family where possible, which is really cool. Livi, knowing what you know now through your career, you've had a pretty fabulous career and obviously still going. What advice can you give to someone, in particular a Pasifika, that to consider pursuing a career in IT? As I mentioned before, we're not necessarily known, but talking to you, you've mentioned there is quite a few that are in the industry. Is there anything that you can offer them at all?
Well, yeah. So in the whole technology IT sector, we Pasifika men and women, we are very, very underrepresented. I'd be surprised if it was like under 5% kind of thing of the industry.
Wow.
I might have those facts wrong, but it's very small. I think with the last time I looked at it, it was very, very small. That's Māori and Pasifika. And we need more of our people in IT, because IT is where you see the advancement and the building of many things, like, anything that you can think of, whether you're on Facebook or Spotify or whatever, all that, your phone apps, a lot of that is what gets built and people use every day. If our people are involved in building that and having a influence on how it's built, and just putting our own lens on it too, so that it's not serving, having that sort of, I guess, a colonized view of it, but we're drawing more of our culture and our language, and then implementing that and embedding that in some of this technology. It's really important for us to be part of that. And so my I guess, yeah, and because there's such a lack of our people in there, I think a career in technology is brilliant. And probably, if I was to talk to anyone right now, I would be saying move into technology. It's what I've said to my kids. Any of my nieces and nephews that haven't already moved to that space, I'd say, and it's not too late. Study it. It's we're not all naturally wired for it, but you can learn it. There's lots of proof where where we've got a lot of many of our people who are now programmers, and there's a lot of support.
Wow.
and support mechanisms that we can sort of wrap around to make sure that you do understand it, and that it isn't hard. It's just something that you can learn and you can just pick up. I work with a Tokeloan. He's a head of engineering, very smart guy who works at Volpara as well. And just another example of another one of our, of our men or of our people, Pasifika people who are in these massive roles.
Technology is just advancing so much, and you see that every day. So encouraging people to get in the game, or at least learn about it to see if it sparks an interest, is, as you say, something that might be worth considering for the future, for sure.
Yeah, if I think if you like doing it, you'd be part of building it. I always say to my boy, you're a big, he's a big gamer.
Yeah.
Likes playing PlayStation and all that kind of thing. And I said, wouldn't it be cool like building these games? And and it's, their eyes always light up, and you go, really? Can I do that? Of course you can.
Wow.
There are ways you can, absolutely. You learn how to program, and you can build those games.
Wow.
And and just a little short story that, so my son, and this is just a little project that he's done through school.
Sure.
He has built a couple of video games.
Cool.
As part of sort of year 12, year 13, and come home and said, look what I've built, and he showed me this game that he's built, and I'm like, wow. But you can learn it, and and that's just through school, college.
Wow.
So imagine tertiary, and imagine what you can sort of learn and advance in those through world techs and
I was going to ask, is that where you'd go after college? You'd go to a Baltic or university to perhaps see what they can offer?
Yeah, I guess my only, and without sort of knowing the detail, my view is that world tech, if you want to learn better, if you want to have focused learning, that's probably a better place to go, the world techs, rather than Victoria University. You have to do all these other core papers that have got nothing to do with technology. They say, well, you've got to do accounting and economics and marketing and all that stuff, and that sort of adds a lot of time and stress to students who don't even want to, it's got nothing to do with technology. So whereas the world techs, that's all they're doing. They're just, all their papers are on technology. And so I think we learned from that from my daughter, and we sort of said, right, to my son, go into LTech, and you go in there, it's every day you're doing classes, whereas Victoria, it's the odd lecture, maybe once a week, and it's like, okay, well. So anyway, it's one of these things I'm sort of still learning about.
It's that total immersion, while getting fully immersed as much as possible. And as you're saying, your WildTech probably offers that, probably more so, which is cool. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Thank you, Louis. I wanted to ask here, just to we're finally wrapping it up here. What does empowerment mean to you?
I guess being confident in your skills and your experience, and the knowledge that you have, to be able to perform, that role well. And once you're in that position, there is that empowerment. I think recognizing your weaknesses, and where you can be easily exposed as a it plays a big part in that as well.
Sure.
Not being, I guess, overconfident, and just so that that you can perform your role really well, having the knowledge, the skills, or all those soft skills, or the technical skills, and that it provides that empowerment, provides you to be able to it empowers you to do your role effectively.
I suppose it's approaching your role, with humility, so that you can, I guess, you can be all that you can be, and continue to build on that, and deliver everything you can within the role that you have, and taking that responsibility to not only know your strengths, but know your weaknesses, know the areas that you can improve on, and go to work on those improvements, so that you can offer more value to the people that need it most, through, I guess, the role that they play in whatever industry. In particular, for your industry, the IT industry, there's just so much more to learn. I'm assuming. Would that be right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you've probably summarized it up way better than I did. Yeah. It's a hard one when I talk about it, about what does it mean to me. Yeah. When you're empowering others, it is imparting that releasing them, or giving them free rein to do things, but again, within their realm. So what is your role? And your role is to da 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 da, and you come with these skills, and these and these are the areas that you've got to sort of work in, and so I'm empowering you to do that within your I guess within your capability, and that. And it's not to say that you can excel and things like that, and growth, to areas for growth and improvements, and that's where you try and recognize weaknesses, so that you're always improving on those areas.
For sure.
But yeah, but you sum it up heaps better than I do.
No, that was awesome, Living. Hey, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, it was such a good first interaction with you, and I think on many levels we share the same passion of helping our Pasifika out there, in particular within our communities, and just letting people know that we're out there. We're out there doing other things that have an impact through our different roles that we play. So I wanted to just let you have any last words, Livy. Is there any last words on your mind?
I guess if anyone listening to this, ask yourself that question. Yeah, what is our worth as Pasifika men, as Pasifika people? It doesn't have to be. That's what it means. That's what makes us rich in what we have. It's all that family that we have around us, that the love that we show to others, the love of God that we show to others, and that servant heart, all that kind of thing, that makes us rich, and that continues to empowers us. So yeah, that's my last words here, Mani.
Beautiful. I think
yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Livi. I'm going to leave it on that note, and hopefully, we'll touch base again and have a bit of a catch up, no doubt, when that time comes. But again,
sounds really good.
Yeah, appreciate your time. And appreciate you doing this.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the honor and the privilege to be able to talk like this to you, and for anyone who's listening. So yeah,
no problem,
bro.
Whakataite love everybody for tuning in. This is Mani Malauru and Livi Ah Hoi on the Empowerment Show. Tofa.